Real estate is about freedom, choice freedom, time freedom, and money freedom, and the impact you can make with that freedom. But it doesn't come without cost. Your freedom takes work. That's why Neil Timmins brings together the tools you need to build your real estate legacy, from tips and tricks to interviews with industry titans. It's all here in one place. Real Grit. Let's get to it.
What if I told you can make 20 times the return of a single family fix and flip on your next big deal? Well, it's actually possible. It's possible inside the world of commercial real estate. Say, I'm inviting you to this free challenge. It starts August 15th. It's totally free. It's a 5-day challenge where I'm going to take you and deep dive into the world of commercial real estate, more specifically, capital multiplier properties, what that is, how we identify them. I'm going to show you how to identify them, how to evaluate them, and how to lock them up risk-free. I'm going to give you all the paperwork to do it. It's totally free. You can sign up to join us at www.20xprofitchallenge.com/real grit. That's www.20xprofitchallenge.com/real grit. And I'll see you in the challenge. Braedon Hebert is coming right up. He comes into this industry from a completely different angle. Totally software focused, software tech for real estate. He's our friend from the north up in Canada. And we talk about the trials and tribulations of starting a new business. It's applicable to anybody starting a new business. How he did it with a partner. And over the course of the last 2.5 years, they've gone from the 2 of them to 10 of them, and where they're at, what they're focused on. So coming right up, a fun conversation with Braedon Hebert. Braedon Hebert, I'm excited to have you here. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Neil?
Good, thanks. Now, it's Hebert for those in America, but in French Canada, they say something different, don't they?
Yes, it's Hebert with an accent aigu on the E, but I don't want to delve into that in case people expect me to know any more French than how to pronounce my last name.
You've wowed me with just that, and we'll move on. How about that?
All right.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm excited to have you here. Well, tell me, we all get started in real estate somehow. How'd you stumble into this world?
So I'm coming at it from a bit of a different angle. So I'm coming at it from the tech software angle into real estate. So I'm a co-founder of a company called CondoWorks that does accounts payable automation for property management companies.
What did you do before you co-founded this company?
So my background is actually in finance and accounting. And that's been most of my roles. I entered the tech and startup world about 10 years ago. And it was at that first startup where I met my co-founder of CondoWorks, I was heading up finance. He was the chief technology officer. And him and I had both kept in touch. I continued along that head of finance role in startups, went through a couple of M&A transactions in that role. And my co-founder, Eric, he actually became the treasurer on his condo board. And that's where he saw the specific challenge of how do these property management companies pay the many bills that they get that flow through them on a monthly basis. So he built the product, and we joined forces to launch CondoWorks in 2019.
Well, I'll dig into the inner workings of that, but how critical has that past relationship, and I'll call it a partnership for lack of a better word, how that relationship between the two of you, how critical has that been to you guys doing a business together?
It's been super critical. I think you have to, like, we're in the trenches every day. Every person has their own strengths, weaknesses, quirks. And so it's really important to understand someone's true character as you in battle together. And to know that at the end of the day, we're both striving for the same thing. So even though we may have disagreements or conflict along the way, if you don't know that person very well when you get started, it can lead to conflict that doesn't get resolved. And so I think it's been a huge part of that. And I think even making the leap into the startup entrepreneurial journey is a big leap. And right. to do that with someone just helps make that a more calculated, safer jump.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. Tell me this, size-wise of the business today, how many people are there?
There's just under 10 of us. So we're pretty early stage.
What culture-wise, what does that look like for you guys?
So we're based in Canada. So yeah, we have like our coffee and donuts. We're also remote. We don't have an office, and we started at the him and I joined forces, full time in March, April of 2020. So great time to start an online business. But it was always our intention to be remote first, regardless of any COVID era influence there. And so that has benefits, more personally, but it does require us to be more conscious about the kind of culture that we want to bring. And so you don't have that water cooler.
Give me an example of that. Plenty of people listening, and they're in varied businesses, and I think you've got to bring a unique perspective from the software side of things and in any business. But starting a business is the same with anybody. Starting it with a partner or relationship is the same with anybody, and having a remote business has the same challenges as building the relationships when you're not there face to face. So, what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? How do you build space in there so you can build relationships with folks?
So we do have a daily stand-up. We call it 10:30 every morning. So we have some people on the West Coast. And so that's our time to share what our priorities are. But we also make time to get to know each other, not all business. And then we also sprinkle in, I jokingly call them forced social interactions, which is a very, very bad brand name, but it's, I've learned being in early stage companies that you got to grease the wheels a bit to get people to get to know each other and to talk. And so we schedule either a team or individual times just to be able to have the opportunity to engage outside of just pure business.
Is everybody there an introvert?
It's actually kind of hard to tell sometimes, because if you're always on Zoom, everyone's, I think, more naturally an introvert. But we're in tech, we're in software, so I think it lends itself to a greater percentage of introverts.
An amazing name, like forced social interaction. That's
the accountant creativity coming out in that.
All right, so let's go into the workings of the business and what you guys solve. Tell me a little about that.
Sure. So the paying of bills is never really that fun or enjoyable for anybody, regardless of scale. And I think in property management, regardless of property management company size, whether they're managing 5, 10, 500, 1,000 plus properties, there's certain aspects to that line of business that make it a bit more painful than other businesses. So, for example, there's volume, there's multiple stakeholders. You may have owners, tenants. You may have a board if you're more in the HOA space, and there's also from a financial record keeping. It's not complex accounting wise, but it's complex operationally. That if you have to keep track of, say, 200 sets of books for each property, and you have thousands of invoices coming in every month, it's operationally complex to get the volume and to do so in an accurate manner. And so, and what we say, in spite of that, a lot of property management companies are still in the late 90s in terms of how they are actually paying their bills.
Right.
So there are some other software solutions out there, but there are many that are still getting it in the mail or printing all them out, signing it off, entering it in by hand, and then even cutting checks to pay those bills. And so that can create, AP. If I say AP, it's accounts payable. It can take weeks or months to pay a bill at an internal cost of $10 to $15. So if you're cutting a check for a $15 invoice, just think about how long is that going to take to actually pay, and how much is it costing you internally to actually pay that bill.
Yeah, that human cost is a big factor associated with paying these bills. And you're right, a property management company at scale with some size and mass to them, miss the whole department. Think of bodies just associated with paying bills, right?
Oh yeah, it's a lot, and it's we like to say that there are certain things that computers and software can do that they should do, and humans can be used for more valuable things. So it's not necessarily about taking jobs away from people, but it's about allowing them to. Everyone's busy, and if you want your business to grow, you don't have to necessarily just add more people in order to support your operations. You can do things more efficiently.
Yeah, and so CondoWorks to solve then the accounts payable. And so tell me a little more about that. Where's it? How does it sit in terms of other solutions? Where does it stack on to, maybe a property management software, for example?
Sure. So the CondoWorks is a full end-to-end accounts payable solution. So which is when we say end-to-end, if you think of the life of an invoice, there's receiving the invoice, it needs to be approved, accounted for, and paid. So CondoWorks can handle the full end-to-end with automation and technology built in throughout that whole flow. So multiple ways of receiving invoices, automatic data extraction, the ability to approve according to specific workflows. Payment can be issued through CondoWorks, and a key component is that we would integrate with the existing accounting or ERP platform that the property management companies are using. So we wouldn't replace it, but we would be act as a complement to optimize that part of the finance and accounting.
So like a Yardi or something you stack on or integrate in with to complement what's already being done there from a property management software standpoint.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Things like Yardi, they do a lot, but they can't necessarily do everything as well as certain companies need it to be. So we would fill that gap.
Yeah. The ideal customer, how big, let's call it, narrow it specifically to property management, houses, condos, apartments, whatever. What size should they be seeking an alternative AP solution?
So our current customer base today are property management companies that have between 10 to close to 300 properties that they manage. And the number of doors can vary depending whether they're high rise or townhouse. And what I do see though are different benefits according to the size. And so at the smaller operations, they have less volume, but oftentimes it's say the owner who's the one who's playing a pretty active role in this. And so that time is super, super valuable. And as you get bigger scale and you have say an accounting team and department, there's the benefits of being able to increase the capacity of that team, as well as being able to handle if say someone was resigned or would need to take time off, and it allows regardless of size those companies to continue to grow and expand without having to add on human capital to be able to support that.
Yeah. And so an example of a workflow could be, a bill amount or a bill from a utility company for let's say, for example, all those can get routed to somebody for approval. A bill past a certain threshold, or let's say, for example, all legal bills have to get routed to a different person for approval. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. That's part of it. And actually, you touched on one of our key features, which is pretty unique to some of the technology that we're building. Actually relates specifically to utility invoices, which can be super, super difficult to deal with. If you're waiting 2 weeks for them to come in the mail, you're rushing to get them paid in time or to avoid shut-off notices, or people are going online and spending hours and days just downloading the invoices from an e-billing portal. We're actually able to connect directly to any online e-billing portal and monitor those for new invoices and automatically download them as soon as they become available, which is for us a unique feature, but especially when you're at scale, if 20 to 30% of your total invoices can be pretty much completely automated, that's a significant source of the value to our customers.
I immediately went to utilities. They're the most annoying ones that come in. Occasionally we'll get a utility bill for $2 and I'm like, why do they even mail this? It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, shutoffs are critical. I mean, you want to make sure that they have to get paid, right? And a lot of those don't require, and owners in the business can review and authorize those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And creating a workflow.
And there's nothing, worse or more embarrassing than if you're in charge of managing that property and the lights go out, that's because the bill wasn't paid. That's a critical, part of that role. So that's why we spent a lot of time, built a lot of technology around that specific type of invoice, because it's a pain, but also super critical to their operations.
Yeah. What's been the most challenging piece, in the last 2 years, 2.5 years of building this business? What's been the most challenging?
There's been the high level, building any business is hard and difficult to get off the ground. So that's been kind of the general challenge. For like this business specifically, there's been I call them early adoption doors to unlock, and a few of those key doors are, one is a general tech aversion. I think as an industry, real estate and property management there's a lot of technology, but it's been, I say, one of the slower to adopt. And so there's the breaking through to find those people who are willing to try out something new. There's geographic. It's a very regional business, and so people want to know, hey, do you have customers in my state or in my city?
They actually care about that with your software?
It does depend. It's not everybody, but there's been certain that conversations that have pretty much stalled out, saying, hey, are you in Southern California yet? And I think it's a very regional business. And so, building a software that's, now North American wide, there's been kind of unlocking early adoption doors, as well as the integration with the existing accounting system. That's a key part of everyone's operations. And so we don't look to replace that because that's a much bigger project to undertake. And so that's been part of the brand, the market building, being able to point to existing customers that say, hey, I know we're new, but hey, look, you're this person down the street or the next state or province over is also using this and getting benefit from it. So that's been, I think, from a challenge there. Like, luckily, my co-founder is a super strong software engineer and developer, and so from a technological standpoint, we that's a strength of ours, just by basis of having that person already on the team. And I think it's both of ours. We're a software and accounting background as co-founders, not selling. And so that's been a great learning for us, but also I'd say the biggest challenge of the business.
Yep. And when you look to 2023, where are you guys headed? What's it look like?
So we started out in Canada, and we started out, as you can tell by our company name, Condo, which in Canada is kind of the all-encompassing term, whether it's HOAs or community or condos. It's kind of the all the same umbrella in Canada. Yeah. And so that's where we got our start, and that's where sort of our home base is. So 2023 for us is about expanding geographically, so into more states specifically, as well as what we call horizontally, to cater to also to the residential and commercial property management companies as well, because there's a lot of commonalities, regardless of sort of asset type that they're managing. Yep. A lot of those same challenges, they're parallels.
Accounts payable, right?
Yes.
But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of commonalities between those. As you look into next year, as you see it today, what's going to be the biggest challenge to break through and expand geographically and then, horizontally?
So if I look at, you kind of going back to our strengths of operations and technology is, I think, sales and marketing is our biggest challenge. And so it's bringing on the resources to be able to invest in that, which is something that we're actively doing now, as well as hiring the right people to be able to execute on that. So it was founder-led sales up until the summer. So we hired our first sales rep in July, and she's been great. She's been great first sales rep, and she's learned the business, and so it's being able to amplify everything around her so she can continue to do that and add more people to that team to continue to accelerate.
To identify a commonality back to somebody who might have a traditional real estate business. I use that quotes traditional. They all look a little different, but it's that it's largely founder driven. And founders end up wearing a whole bunch of hats until you get to a point where there's some traction, there's some resources available, and it's time to go into a scale mode or identifying sections of the business that one should not do. And you guys have identified that in sales. You need somebody to fill that spot and take it to a new level. And everybody has, as you said, we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses, right? It's about filling those weaknesses largely with somebody else in many cases.
Well, my biggest personal challenge and development in this whole experience has been cold calling. Ever since I was a kid, I hated calling. I hated calling friends to get together. I just have never ever been comfortable with that. But when you're the founder and it's on you to do, either we're gonna grow and land new customers by cold calling, or we're not. And so it was a great forcing function to. That's the furthest out of my comfort zone that I've been pushed in my professional life. Has been the days where I said, okay, here's the list of 40 people and let's go do it.
How'd you get through that? Fear holds a lot of people back, from taking any action in their business. How'd you fight through that?
I had some good friends and mentors that I was able to tap into. I also found some good online resources. This guy named Josh Braun. He runs SaaS sales, has his own kind of academy. And so I really latched on to the mindset approach that he takes to it. He uses the analogy of fishing, in that the enjoyment of fishing doesn't come from catching fish. It comes from the getting out there and just being out there in the moment. And so trying to repeat that mantra as you're going through that and doing the next dial, that it's not about landing someone to agree to a demo or having a good effective pitch. It's about enjoying the personal growth you're getting from this, as well as hey, that was a good conversation. Whether it landed in a meeting booked, that's okay, as long as you're learning and getting to know people. So that's it's for me, it was very much a mental barrier and that fear. And so that was a great resource that I found that helped me as much as I can. I think I'm still a long way to go from being good at it, but it definitely helped.
Action's a new perfection. So taking action is better than not doing anything, right? Imperfect action to move everything forward. And as you said, when the business is on the line, you're gonna have to make a decision, right?
Yeah. There's nothing. Survival is a good motivator.
When there's no other choice. Yes, I'm with you. Yeah, let's do this. I want to move on to the final segment, what I call for impact. Your favorite quote. I can't believe I get to say this on air, so I'm excited to say this. Do cows pee milk? Your son Wyatt said he's 5 years old, and what about that resonates? What about that has you say that is your favorite quote?
Yeah. Well, I have some insightful things to say. I think I thought it was funny. I thought that's throw that out there, see how that goes. And when looking to share my favorite quote, I have the notes app where one of the notes I have are quotes. So I was like, okay, well, I need a quote here. Let's go back to my quote bank and see. And that one stood out because it's humor, but I think it's also it's about you can get it from always being curious. Don't take yourself too seriously. So I have 3 young kids. So Wyatt's now 7. He's the oldest. And it's very, kids are great at grounding you and just kind of remembering what's important. I think, especially as just the two of us grinding, you get kind of locked into your own world. And so to be able to pull yourself out of that, and it's not about being able to sell your accounts payable software to somebody. That's not a measure of your worth. What's important are the curiosities of life. And so that's I found that quote both funny and have a level of profoundness, which is why I recorded that 2 years ago.
Yeah. What do you think holds most investors back from hitting their personal next level? And you answer that through your lens of the investors that you connect with, talk to in your world.
I think I wrote down when I was thinking about that question, fear. And actually, I wrote the biggest mistake is inaction, which I think may have even come from one of your recent podcasts that I listened to as well. And so it's, for me, it's about I'm self-conscious by nature. And there's been there's been moments where I said, you know what, I wish I reached out to that person a month ago, or I wish I took that shot, last week, and now it's too late. And so that, remembering those and using those past regrets as motivation and as a forcing function to take action now is I think an important thing.
It sounds to me like you're self-reflective as well. You identify that within yourself, and I then kind of alter course moving forward.
Yeah, well, I think we try. Yeah, we all try to.
I'm saying we all don't. Based on what I hear you say, it sounds like you do, and I think that's admirable.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Outside of real estate and of tech, what are you most passionate about?
So the 3 young kids, it's that takes up a lot of passion, and so things like soccer and birthday parties are a big part of the passion. Yeah. This month, about 4 weeks ago, I decided to quit being the worst squash player amongst my friends. Okay. And I have spent every weekday the last 4 weeks at the squash club by myself. Saying, all right, let's not be the worst anymore. Not quite there yet, but a work in progress. So that's what I say is my current passion outside of work and kids.
Yeah. What's the old saying? How fast do you have to be to outrun a bear? Faster than the person next to you, right?
Yes.
You just need to find a friend who's worse. You just need a new friend. Maybe that is an alternative strategy than to improving.
I like that.
What's your favorite way to make an impact in the community?
In the community, one of the things that's important to me is mental health. I have a brother who battled with that and lost that battle about 10 years ago. So that's
Braedon.
My parents have in our community here done a lot to help support that, and so that's an angle that I in terms of helping out, whether it's through direct donation or involvement in the actions around that, or just being able to help be a good role model and help out those who I see struggling with that. That's one area that I think is a personal interest.
Yeah. And I've read multiple pieces, the studies widely vary, and you could probably speak to this far better than I could, but some of the pieces I've read, it said it's, 30 to 50%. And I'm referencing the United States here, roughly a third of the people will either do regularly or will in their lifetime experience, a mental health challenge, and they largely go unspoken about. But what's mentionable is manageable. And I think I'm glad you brought it up. I think it's, we're making a movement in this country. I think there's a direction headed down that path to make it more mentionable because it impacts so many people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like you said, it's not always spoken about, and I actually had planned more of a business focused answer to that, but I think it's easier to kind of go back to something that's not as personal when answering questions like that. So I appreciate you bringing that up and leaning into it. I know some of those it's not easy. Mm-hmm. Not easy in the slightest. Well, let's put a bow on this episode. This has been a tremendous conversation. If people want to find you, they want to follow you, they want to connect with you, they want to learn more about the business and how it can help them, where can they go? What should they do? So the business is CondoWorks, and our website is condoworks.co. So not .co, yep. Not .com. And our website presence, and personally and business, we're LinkedIn. LinkedIn is our most active social presence. So I'm Braedon Hebert or Hebert on LinkedIn, and CondoWorks is there too. Perfect. We'll make sure we got all those links put in the show notes below for everybody. Braedon, I appreciate you taking the time to connect. It's a fun story about how you how you came out of something that is adjacent to this, right? And then find yourself in a startup with a friend, with a partner, with a colleague, somebody who's in that foxhole with you, if you will, fighting the battle each and every day and getting your way through it and
and identifying ways to continue to grow. Just taking it from 2 people to 10 people is not an easy task. So I commend you for what you're doing. And I appreciate you coming on and chatting about it and your experience.
Yes, yeah, thank you. It's very good. It's very good to chat with you.
You bet. For everybody here at Real Grit, I'm Neil Timmins, reminding you that real estate requires real grit. See you next time. What if I told you you can make 20 times the return of a single family fix and flip on your next big deal? Well, it's actually possible. It's possible inside the world of commercial real estate. Say, I'm inviting you to this free challenge. It starts August 15th. It's totally free. It's a 5-day challenge where I'm going to take you and deep dive into the world of commercial real estate, more specifically, capital multiplier properties, what that is, how we identify them. I'm going to show you how to identify them, how to evaluate them, and how to lock them up risk-free. I'm going to give you all the paperwork to do it. It's totally free. You can sign up to join us at www.20xprofitchallenge.com/real grit. That's www.20xprofitchallenge.com/real grit. And I'll see you in the challenge. If you like our content and want more, you can access it at realgritpodcast.com. You hear it guest after guest. Instinctively, you already know it. But let me call it out. The most expensive action is inaction. The real estate market is full of opportunities. You just need to uncover them. You can build a business that lasts for years, makes monumental impact in the lives of those that you love. It's not just about business, but about the freedom you get because of it. Have you ever heard the saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I believe that partnering is essential. In fact, I partner with hardworking investors all the time. The point is that you can get a lot further with the right partner. Let me say it again, the right partner. If you've ever thought about partnering with anyone, or if you have a partner now, I encourage you to download my free Partner and Profit Guide, which includes the top 5 must-answer questions to evaluate a profitable partnership. You can find it at www.legacyimpactpartners.com. I'll see you in the next episode.